Hi everyone, this is Bhuvana Meenakshi from Tamil Nadu, India. I'm coming from one of the southernmost part of India called Salem in Tamil Nadu. So it's wonderful to be part of the Neurodiversity India Summit 2022 and be speaking about accessibility in tech. This is one of the most essential, um, I would say, like the need in the tech industry as for like neurodivergence engaging tech and also for neurodivergence as users for various platforms that is being used universally. Um, so Before I get into the talk, a little about me. I am running a small self-help community group for women in my region, where we trying to help them in bridging the skill and the career gaps and various other digital infrastructural needs under the name of Women in Tech Collectives India. And also with my friend Lena, we've brought about this initiative called EmergeAbility, where we're trying to provide awareness and also research about various understandings of how neurodivergence can be part of an inclusive space and also for creating different participatory access. So with that note, let's go to the structure of the presentation for the day. So in the talk today, you would find me discussing with you about um, what is web accessibility, W3C, WIC, few terminologies associated with this, assistive technologies, and also about like what uh, what you need in your website to make it accessible. If you're just into coding and stuff, just a few tidbits about how you can add this simple things into your uh, scripting. Like I don't want to take in more technical jargony kind of stuff, but then just probably if you're into tech, you can probably understand. And then it's about the future of accessibility technology. So my talk is going to be more about web and making web as an accessible point. That's more of like the place of access for various sort of source of information that you are looking for. So wanted to discuss more of this. Yeah. So A11Y is basically a forum which is made for understanding how accessibility works, and it's a group of it's an open collective of group like which has people from different backgrounds, different essential needs, talking about accessibility, and also it's developers on the other side who are trying to provide um, much good experiences and stuff. Um, so looking into accessibility, it's at itself, it's definitely, you need to take a little time while you develop your website, and it's also going to have you like an additional cost for the resource or for the tool that you need to purchase, and it's all sort of like, I mean, at least while you get started, it looks like an additional um, resource adding work, or like, it's like kind of taxing with whatever you've been doing regularly. But let me tell you why and how this affects, a lot of users, because the time you target your global users, or like let's say you're trying to target um, huge number of users. Not that every user looks at your particular application at the same way how you think moderate or or like a common person would look at it, like even in let's say in a group of 10, there's more of possibility that um, around like 4 to 5 people from the team look at the website in a different way or try to um, opt for different options in your particular application when they try to access your platform, right? So that's where because we humans have different unique aspects towards looking at various things. So considering those points in mind, it's very essential to understand that you are making this particular application to fit in for people with different abilities, people with different accessibility needs, people with different type of things, like if they need additional visual access, like with something to um, enlarge the particular font, or look at the font different way, or like we're also targeting different age groups, gender, people with different challenges. So it could be like visual, audio, or any sort, or like cognitive. So any sort of different needs or abilities, right? So the use is always not the same. So the conventional way of development is being made to make people fit to everything, but it actually doesn't fit at all for everyone. So that's exactly where your application needs to be made accessible, and it needs to be found inclusive for everyone to participate and use the particular application. So while we create accessibility for everyone, it's almost that people with different perceptions, are going to or like people with different skills are going to access your particular platform. So there are three different essentials that you need to keep in mind. So the first thing is the user experience design that you're trying to, that's the first sort of the interface that you're trying to interact with your users. So, while at the point you make your user experience design, you need to think about how you're going to take this through for various people, and also there are a bunch of standards in the web, with the W3C consortium, the Web3 consortium. So how could these standards um, can align with something that's related to or like associated with web accessibility? I mean, the forum already does a lot. Like the A11Y already has brought about different principles in different ways how the WWC and the WAI works. But I would say, while create a specific application, it's also essential to think to see how things falls into place with the web standards, and also make little changes to it. I mean, little changes in your code to align with those standards to just fit into for accessibility. And also we have assistive technologies. So these could be in form of like any sort of like um, mouse, different. I mean, for people who couldn't find keyboards as an accessible device for them to type, um, a mouse with just like a scrolling additional feature, and taking a virtual keyboard helps in. So those sort of technology or like software. So these three essentials like stand, um, I mean, by themselves, as like in the web world, these three are essential things that lay where people can work on um, three distinct points. But you know, only when these three intersect, that's exactly where accessibility um, as a feature, or like accessibility as a need comes into place for making applications, or for making users making more effective usage of application for your users. So the W3C, the worldwide consortium, they create the principles and standards for the web, because web is open for all, and they try to bring in the latest, uh, like it could be 2.0, the 3, the web 3. I mean, with whatever principles and standards it has been evolving with the web in W3C. It's like a global forum that takes care of all of that. And WAI, the Web Accessibility Initiative, is specific, working on the accessibility standards, and they work with the W3C to find ways to, be like get along with the standard rules, but also, in addition to the standard rules, find ways to fit in accessibility as well. These are wonderful initiatives, and it's also run by communities and groups all over the world, who are essential users of the web. So yeah, and WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So these are the guidelines which, if you're developing your next application, or you've been into development of an application already, you should go through these standard technical guidelines, which help in, um, you know, helps you to probably like check, um, at least in an overall surface manner, like to understand, is there if your particular website is perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. So there are different factors to each of these again, but you need to explore more about it to see how efficient your website is, if they follow particular, at least these four essential, um, standards at least. And they have recently broke it down into three, as like certifying, like AAA and AAA. So AA is considered for like high user support, and the AAA is where you make your website specifically for a group of people. Um, So, I mean, I follow Emma Dawson's tweet on Twitter. She talks more about accessibility, and she definitely is a wonderful influencer for this. And I mean, I started to focus more into technical aspects of accessibility um, after I saw her works and being inspired by it. So so the accessible rich internet applications, ARIA, is a very profound term that's used when it comes to accessibility, and I would say it's more about like how to enhance your accessibility options on your website, um, and how to it's more about dealing with um, how to create your applications with with necessary accessibility features and stuff. But till now, the HTML doesn't support, or like it doesn't have sufficient components or widgets that um, uh, you know is required to meet the standards of this ARIA. So it's more of like you have to more try to do with what you have at the moment, but hope as also different versions of HTML and CSS and um, and also like JavaScript evolving. It's that it's all about like how the developers try to make these decisions and uh, put the codes in a way that can help the users. So um, yeah, so while we come to assistive technologies, we all know that there is already huge lot of needs in creating assistive technologies. With the AI, the artificial intelligence coming in, there's a lot of scope for helping different uh, people with different challenges is just evolving through. Um, and There's a note from the WHO which says, um, you know, we still have a lot of unmet global needs with respect to the assistive technologies. Um, it's not just about creating these technologies, but also, it's also about people skills, which needs like people who need to be trained with the skills um, for creating these assistive technologies, or like working with these technologies per se. Um, you know it it does involve a lot of money. There's a lot of resource again to create or develop these technologies, plus to get some bunch of skilled laborers, um, who can assist, or like who can use or train people on how to use these technologies as well, which is like the most primary need for while these assistive technologies are brought to meet certain needs. Um, so there's like high need for people with low vision, or when there's like people with selective vision for selective colors and stuff. So um, you know, for them, how the products can assist people with low vision, and also uh, raise. I've seen there's like recent development with the IoT for assessing the wheelchairs, for like if like, and also like create a robotic feature to help them climb the stairs and stuff. So but again, how many have the access to this, or is it just that the public infrastructure being changed, or like the platforms where they need to access, are they being taken into concern? So yeah, a lot of things to be considered, and also for people who need acoustic support, how meeting those needs as well. So yeah, I mean a bunch of common issues that lie, but then creating technology, creating hardware or software in the development, or like supporting these assistive technologies is also to be considered, um, uh, with the sense of like keeping in mind the accessibility. So this is just a small instance taken from the MIT news. So where they found, you know, this good sort of like outputs with regard to the data visualization that they found while they made the research with people with visual challenges, and with different voice assistants. They try to assess a particular data and analyze them and um, give different uh, outputs or research outputs to this. So this has been a wonderful project, especially researchers with different abilities trying to contribute to especially like data analysis or any project, I would say, any technical oriented projects, you know, just that, if that they could have the particular assistance, like a braille keyboard or headphones to understand, or like any sort of supportive devices or software for it, then this makes the team very inclusive, to have different bunch of people, and you know uh, and also to just follow passion, I mean in um, what were people interested in, right? So I found this, the alt text, the descriptive text attached to the images on Twitter, very helpful, especially the ones from the NASA tweets I've been following. They've been just helpful to understand various if you're um, a space enthusiast, stargazer, then something like this really helps. And for the matter, it's just a small, thoughtful idea, where you're trying to describe what's in the image, but it's really helpful for different people, especially trying to understand or focus on what image is trying to convey. So uh, adding these sort of like uh, additional, or like I would say essential features, really helps in bringing in a lot of people to understand what your software or like your platform could be used for. So this is so this is just an inspiration. Um, so the next website of yours, what does it need to have? It needs to have accessibility. Yes. So yeah. So especially while you're thinking that you want to cover different sort of people from different backgrounds, let's say even from different demographics, you need to consider a lot of factors while you are trying to broaden your um, user ecosystem. because as I said already, every human has their own unique ways of absorbing certain information or understanding or processing. So, so uh, uh, yeah. So if you've been like creating HTML content um, to test, I mean, test your content, and you can create sitemaps. So sitemaps are really helpful in finding out which part of your website stands where, because your website is could have a lot of sub pages and sub pages to the sub pages, so it's really going to be confusing in those matters. So sitemap really helps, and also it's advisable, like if you're trying to create a project where you want to have people from different abilities to take part, or like just say if you're having a bunch of people in your team, and in the process of the development, make sure these sort of sitemaps, links, and subdomains are arranged in a good way for people to participate and contribute to your work as well. And Also, as I said earlier, this is a bit of a cost factor, but still, if you're considering advanced testing, make sure these are WCAG 2.1 and level A and level AA compiling. I'd say WCAG is also released a new version of the WCAG 3, and that's yet to be implemented just as the documentation has rolled out. Yeah, and my favorite part of any website would be having feature um, to probably have like change different fonts, like dyslexic font, or like while I highlight a specific text, help me to visual and focus on the particular text. So I do use add-ons for on my browsers, but sometimes they do not sync with my website. So rather, I go and install and uninstall specific add-on to my browser. I would just appreciate something that's available built in to the website itself. So the other needs, essential needs to your website could be something like neatly labeling headings, having as much as descriptive links, and also um, supporting your visuals, images, or videos with some textual content, like how I showed you the alt text in the Twitter for the images. And also, uh, it's essential to focus on certain elements, content, order, and also the keyword wrap. So, especially like, while I have certain specific buttons that I want my user to click, then, how I can show that with different color, like, give it a little bit of shadow and project it. So, people know it's a button and let them click and see. Um, to drive it to something else, and basically, trying to highlight what's important and where you want your users to focus on. Yeah, and also the color coding system is very essential part, and it's necessary to use different contrasting colors. Also keep in mind, people who have selective color visual challenges, like you know we use commonly like blue, green, and red if in case of anything. It's very important. Um, so make sure you use global colors, um, and that's something that's more easier for everyone to read, and highlight and focus on with different colors, your content only if it is essential, uh, or like if you really want them to do some action over it. In that sense, please do not. Um, and also, if you're working into considering design for a team, uh, for a team of designers or developers in team, and you want them to have an inclusive participation, make sure you annotate your wireframes to know where it starts to where it ends, or like order them in some labels so it's easier to know, like follow up from where it needs to be done. Okay, this is just very simple code. I mean, if you've been using IMG tags, so I showed you the alt text on Twitter. So, it's just a small tag that makes a lot of difference. So if you're choosing an image from the source, then the next time make sure that you also add an ALT to it. So the alt tag helps in adding description to the image. So that helps, and also using some um, simple audio video controls also helps. For example, um, to support people with transcripts or closed captions, you can add those into your video um, tag, like just by giving so you can store the closed captions or the whole sort of the subtitles or the transcript into a source file that ends with .btt, and you can add it to the particular video or the audio. So this just helps in a non especially while you have a non-text um, media, and want people to understand uh, from it. So these sort of just simple versions, simple sort of scripts, but these really help. I'd say a whole lot, of, like, bunch of people. So the future of web accessibility. So the WCAG has introduced 3.0, and this 3.0 seems to have very good progress with the latest technologies that's coming in, and especially like in the world of readers, e-readers is going to be creating some changes and making it more accessible. So I just going to imagine wonderful versions of EPUB and PDF. I just love reading books on my Kindle. So I hope a little more standards, if improvised, is going to help a lot of them. Um, and also yes, with the virtual reality, augmented reality, and extended reality, all progressing through with voice assistants. So yes, I'm so glad all these are going to get improved, and the main highlight of the 3.0 version that I see is it's going to address specific challenges of spectrum. Um, so I'm just curious to see how they're bringing this through, like how they're trying to address especially like specific challenges, um, but yeah, I think that's going to be really helpful for people who need to be definitely inclusive into accessing the web. Um, yeah, and also different levels of accessibility technology framework. Um, so yeah, I'm just excited, to see how this rolls out and how different websites can find them, um, compile into the 3.0 version. Um, yes. Yes, so I'm so excited to get in touch with you all, and yeah, if you need next, help in making your website accessible, or just you want to talk with me in general about accessibility, or if that you want to learn, you want me to learn um, uh, with some resource on that I might find more interesting, do feel free to share, and you can choose whichever medium to contact me. Like, I'm available email as bhuvana@gmail.com, on Twitter as Bhuvna Kotis1, and on LinkedIn again as Bhuvna Meenakshi Kotishwaran. So feel free to get in touch, and yeah, this is definitely those wonderful events where it gives me chance to address people, like-minded ones, and also it's a wonderful lineup of speakers whom I'm also inspired by. So thanks again for this opportunity, and hope to see you all in uh, another event or anything that's more um, associated with neurodivergence and neurodiversity. Thanks.